All right. I think we are ready to get things up and rolling here. First of all, thank you everybody that took the time to come out here this afternoon and celebrate 6 more of our athletes who are signed and move on to the next level. As we have 3 from the women's soccer team, Macy Woolcock, Taylor Miller, and Kate Ward. 1 from volleyball and Nicole Shaver. And then 2 from the men's soccer team with Gael Hernandez and with Azael Marufo. So let's start off things with the coaches saying a little bit about their athletes. We'll start from left to right, and Fernando will have you roll off first and talk a little bit about these 2 guys and what they meant.
Hello. What these 2 guys meant to me and their time here. Asa came here as a freshman. Gael, I brought him in as a transfer. And I'll talk about Asael first. Bringing him in he was very special, very shy, kept to himself a lot. But it was a pleasure having him. Works hard, knows what he wants. And I'm happy to see him move on and continue his career as a student athlete at a 4-year university to get his bachelor's degree. With Gael, it was the same thing. I think they kind of grew up together, playing, against each other and stuff like that. But Gael, unfortunately, went to a different junior college his freshman year, even though I wanted him as a freshman as well. But bringing him in, impact player, very happy to have him. Worked hard, same thing, and just kind of represented the culture of what we wanted here. Same thing, I'm happy to watch him grow, develop, and move on to a 4-year university and continue his student career.
All right, while we have the mic moved on back to Zach, we'll switch over to the other side and talk with Lugo. And Lugo, this is your second set of signees. Talk a little bit about these 3 and what they kind of meant.
Yeah, these 3 with Macy, Taylor, and Kate kind of piggyback like that last group that we had. Is they just had such a successful group in sophomore, freshman year, making it to the national tournament, and kind of going through wishy-washy of stuff at the beginning of the year to still do what they were able to do. Same thing with myself coming in, brand new coach, brand new stuff, expectations, and for them to still be a part of a group that had high expectations, not only for the team, but also themselves to move on to that next level. And it showcased whatever they were able to do in the season. With Macy, I mean, we don't make it as far as we did without the season that she had. And I know the article that came out earlier this year where she almost didn't come back. And I think it just meant a lot for our group to have someone like that was just so dedicated and to have crucial goals for us to move on. With Taylor, I mean, it was a group that I trusted in the midfield where she played. I can't even imagine how many minutes that she logged in from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, fighting through injuries. Even second to last game of the season where she pulls up, I think, last minute of the game against Western Nebraska, and all week long we're nervous if she's going to be healthy for the next week that starts playoffs. And just to show the determination and grit that she had and being able to accept, a different role that came into what her expectations were, not just on her own, but from a coaching staff perspective, I think shows a lot on who she is. And then same thing with Kate. I mean, she bounced around from center back or to outside back, pretty much just being able to work with us and what we needed each game. And so I think her determination and what all 3 of them were able to do, I mean, not just in practice and in the classroom, but on their own. You drive by the field and you see they're out doing their own stuff, or like most recently, Kate wants to up the tempo, and so she's starting to train with the men's team, and so some of that stuff starts to show who they are as individuals and characters, and I love it because, again, it showcases what the program's all about and the dedication that they put in to make it a successful program.
Last but definitely not least, Zach, talk a little bit on the volleyball side of things. Nicole was a little bit of a later signing coming into the season kind of in the early month of it, but what does she mean to the team and just as a player?
This is the one time that I can honestly say I know this player pretty well. I started coaching her a little bit when she was young at 10, 11 years old, and then she obviously didn't want to continue that father-daughter relationship into college. Definitely probably, I would say, it's definitely hard to be a collegiate student athlete nowadays, and when you're younger to be the coach's kid, that's difficult, but putting those 2 things together at the college level, it's, hard, very, very hard. But I think she came in and gave us a spark that we needed, specifically late in the season. I think she really kind of started to find her rhythm in our offense. And the thing, you're probably going to ask this later, but I was just already thinking of it, that I'll probably remember most is first playoff match against Western Nebraska, and we're down 0-2, and we make a switch in our offense, and she comes in and made a huge difference. And especially, I was getting nervous in the fourth set, thinking, okay, we won set 3, but are we going to fizzle here in the fourth and not even make it to the fifth? And I think she served off, you probably know the stats better than I do, 12 or 13 straight points, including about 8 aces, and really just kind of solidified us as a team moving into that next round of the playoffs, beating Western Nebraska. So that's on the court, one of the things that sticks out. Obviously, there's a lot of personal memories.
Let's keep the mic there on volleyball, and before we have the kids actually sign, talk a little bit, Nicole, about why you ended up choosing New Mexico Highlands.
Yeah, so I went to New Mexico Highlands because of the coach. I know her very well. I respect her and know what she wants. I really like the team and the girls there, and I think overall it was a great fit for me.
Keep it moving that way. Gael, you're RMAC school as well. We kind of have a lot of kids go to UCCS. We'll talk about that in a second, but what made you decide to become a mountain lion?
Just how you mentioned, I know a lot of the guys that, I know a lot of the core guys that are over there at UCCS, so that I think played a factor. I talked with the head coach, and I liked what I heard. I know it's a program that strives to be at the top every year in the RMAC in a very competitive conference, so I think that's what made it easy talking with the coach and just knowing a lot of the core guys.
Aza, same question for you on CSU Pueblo.
I chose CSU Pueblo. They're a really competitive program. I'm trying to stay as close as possible to my house. And yeah.
Close to home's always a good thing. Let's switch it over to soccer. And Macy, you got the mic in front of you right now, so we'll start off with you. You're heading a little bit further away, going over to Indiana to play for Oak City. What was some of the things that stood out to you for that program?
I really like the coach. He made me feel confident going there. I also have a friend who's going there that also helps, that I'm going to know people going there. And the facilities are really nice and a really good place.
Taylor, you're also heading over into that same Midwest area, southwest Minnesota State. Talk a little bit about the decision there and what you're excited about for that program.
Well, it wasn't really an option at the beginning, but Lugo knew the head coach, and then I got talking with him, and honestly, he's such a great guy. And then I got in contact with some of the girls, and it honestly just seems like a great atmosphere, and that's ultimately what made me want to go there.
Kate, heading down to Texas, Houston Christian University, and your decision to go there.
Yeah, when I took my visit, the girls were just super welcoming. The campus was beautiful. They have relatively small class sizes. It's a Christian school. The scholarship was great. And then I've always wanted to play Division I soccer, so that played a big factor as well.
All right, before we move on to more questions, y'all got a piece of paper in front of you, and let's go ahead and make it official on video, signing to move on. Keep it rolling. We'll open it to some public questions. So if you guys got any, then we'll jump to you guys in a second. But first, we'll do one set of questions for each of the players. Keep it rolling with soccer. Kate, talk a little bit about moving up to the D1 level. Coach mentioned that you're kind of been working out with the guys team. What are you excited about to see the competition at that level?
I think it's just really exciting to pick up that speed of play. Obviously, as you pick up those levels, you're going to pick up the speed of play. The physicality level will just become more physical. So I'm just really looking forward to that.
Moving over to Taylor. Midfielder was your main position, but you showed some versatility in your years here at El Trip. How much did that help you as far as getting noticed, and is that something that helped you kind of getting noticed when it came to going to the D2 level?
I think it did help me get noticed just because, a coach wants a player that can play anywhere, and I think, me moving around in the midfield is really helpful, and then obviously getting the captain position, that was also really helpful just to show that, I know that I have the strength and the confidence to do what I need to do, and that shows coaches.
Macy, you guys obviously had a lot of trips during your 2 years here, and you coming from overseas as well. But Florida, New York, 2 trips to nationals in 2 different places. A lot of memories to choose from, but what's your favorite memory from your time here?
I would say mine was probably going to Florida for preseason. I was super fun and going to the beach. And also my family got to come, so it was good to see them.
Flip over to the other side. Not sure who the mic's in front of right now. So Nicole, you're the lucky one right now. When you talk about coming in mid-season, that's obviously something that's not an easy transition when it comes to. But you've gotten to experience things at the D2 level and now at the JUCO level. How much did that kind of variety of experiences help you out moving forward?
Yeah, I think it was able to help me and also the team with just different knowledge. But I think it was super easy to transition to this team during the season just because of the teammates and the culture here at Triple C. I was able to fit right in.
We kind of mentioned it with you, Gael. 7th Golden Eagle to go to UCCS. It's almost a little pipeline that's starting to develop down there. But when you see kind of that, did that make it a little bit easier to get noticed by them, or were there some things that helped you out as far as that process?
I think you're spot on. I think the culture that LCCC has built with UCCS and the head coaches, I think, is very important. Obviously, I know a couple guys. Danny from here last year was over there, so I'm actually going to be rooming with him, so that'll make it a lot easier. But no, yeah, like I said, I think it's a program that has aspirations to win. It has the ambition to be at the top, so I think that's why, I kind of lean towards UCCS, and hopefully we can beat CSU Pueblo a couple times next year.
First, you got a rebuttal to that?
We'll see.
Talking about CSU Pueblo, they're a team that has really kind of reached the top of the RMAC right now. When you talk about defending national runners-up, back-to-back seasons, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But going to a program like that that's seen the success, how excited are you to continue being with programs that have shown success like that?
I'm just so excited. I just like the competition, and I'm just hungry to keep playing soccer.
Coach, you've been blessed enough to see a lot of kids sign on from the school, from the men's program. These will be numbers 6 and 7 from your side of things. When you talk about seeing that kind of growth, how much does this help the program when you see kids not just signing to schools, but to competitive schools that are doing big things at their levels?
I think it definitely helps out a lot to continue to recruit quality guys to come in the program and be impactful. But I think at the end of the day, we got to give it up to the guys that continue to get signed, because they're the ones that put the hard work in. The guys that show up, dedication, and believe in the coaching staff and what has been built here for the last 14 years, and we hope to continue that into the future.
Flip it over to Lugo on the women's side of things. And Coach, you talk about a lot of kids. It's going to be a pretty big rebuilding process. I shouldn't say that in a negative way, but it's a good thing when you have 6 kids moving on from a team at a JUCO level. What does this do as far as recruiting, though? When you have that much success, has that helped you in the recruiting process as far as being able to let kids know, like, we don't just want to send you on, but we have a resume of sending kids on to the next level?
Yeah, I think they're a good representation of what's to come when you come here. And I think the good thing is that when the students do take a campus visit and they're able to actually meet with the girls, I mean, those are the ones that are providing all the information that they need. Like, a coach can fill them with all this stuff, but it only means just as much coming from our individuals that move on. And so for not just us and what we were able to do this year, but the program's track record and where they send players and how many players they send out, it does make things, I want to say, a little bit easier to get in connection and just get people on the hook to see what we're able to build. And yeah, it's going to be a huge group to replace, not just what they were able to do on the field, but like what I mentioned last time, just the leadership that all of them brought in and embracing pretty much the hard work that goes into being a successful program. That's going to be the tough piece to replace going into next year.
Finally, Zach, last year you had 1 athlete end up signing to the next level. This year you've already had 3. You're looking at having a few more that are going to be looking to sign as well. To see that type of a jump in 1 year, is that something, you've been around the pro coaching styles for a long time at this point in time, including at the JUCO level, but Is that something you've seen very often before, and how much do you see the girls taking a lot of credit for that as far as just the work they put in?
I think the fact that we only had one go on last year was just circumstance. You know, some of the players that had come here prior to me that were here as sophomores were planning on going into some of the 3-year programs here, dental hygiene, physical therapy assistant. So this was kind of the end stop for them collegiately, and that was just, you know, the situation. So I think when Brooke Parker came with me, we had already established that was part of why she came to junior college, was to make it as high a level as she could after that. And I think in the recruiting process and with the current sophomores, which we are, I think a couple of them are pretty close. Probably within the next 2 weeks, we'll have 2 or 3 more that have signed, so maybe even 4. I think that's huge, but it's always asked by every recruit and their parents, you know, how are you going to help us? What are you going to, how can we know that we're going to be able to be recruited onto the next level? And having that resume of the players that are doing it right now definitely helps in that.
All right, that's all I got for them. Are there any questions from the group? All right.
I think Billy raised his hand back there.
Well, if that's all we got for you guys, then congratulations once again. Let's give it one more round of applause for this group of athletes. Thank you, everybody, for coming out to this. We appreciate the support, and we'll look forward to having hopefully another one of these come at the end of April or early May.